Budget with Swami. It's time for that segment where we get the perspective, an honest perspective from the consulting editor of the Economic Times on what to expect from the finance minister. Swami, welcome to the show. Do you expect that the finance minister is going to use this budget to take some really hard decisions, because the next one is sure shot going to be a populist one? What do you expect from the FM this time?
I think that there's going to be an attempt to have a tough budget this time. This is really because of the electoral cycle. If there's a 1914 election, when you only have budget, a vote on account in budget 2014, it means that budget 2013 has to be a populist election budget. That means budget 2012 is the last chance for the finance minister to really do something tough to put his fiscal house in order. Not just a patchwork thing, but something that will last for the next 2-3 years. So I think, just on the grounds of the electoral cycle, this is going to be a solid fiscal consolidating budget, a lot of tough actions, not seeking to buy easy populism, not seeking to give lots of sops to industry.
Swami, over the past few interviews with you on Swaminamics and budget with renewal, if you are looking at fiscal consolidation as one key subject, yes, it's going to be there. If one gets down to specifics, look at the jolt that the government got in the Vodafone tax case. From a taxation point of view, could the government come up with a clearer structure that normally would end up benefiting the government departments?
Yes, I'm sure they would explore that option. Whether they've had enough time to produce a new watertight formula, I don't know. But yes, they do feel that this is the kind of thing that should be taxed. And if they manage to miss out for various technical reasons, let us fix those technical reasons. It may not just be that. I think there are various other issues they will be looking at. There is a feeling that, too much tax has been lost through Mauritius loopholes, through various other tax haven loopholes. Now, to some extent, you have to put India on the same level pegging as the rest of the world. You can't have tougher rules for India than other countries. But within that overall limitation, I think there surely will be an attempt to try and plug all the loopholes possible to maximize revenue.
Fair point. Swami, a subsidy bill is something that's gone completely out of control. Do you think that the government and the finance minister will do something concrete to address that issue, to reduce the subsidy bill?
I think at the time they formulated the budget, perhaps the price of Brent crude was about $108 a barrel. It's past 122 and rising. If you really get any problem of Israel bombing or otherwise attempting to harm Iran, you could see the price of oil going to $150 a barrel. So we have to get out of the idea that we have complete price controls and any change in the international price automatically is offset by a government subsidy. That will absolutely kill this government. The subsidy can go to 100,000, 200,000 crores. So we must find some way of at least partially decontrolling diesel. You need to find a way of decontrolling kerosene, of LPG, maybe capping the amount of LPG that anybody can get. In the case of kerosene, I'd be all in favor of saying abolish the subsidy, just give poor people free solar lamps so that they have a free... we need to get out of the situation where every time the international price goes up, our subsidy goes up.
Swami,
that must be broken.
Okay, what about revenues, Swami? Do you think the government will do something, concrete to widen the tax net? Do you expect more services to be brought under the net of the service tax? And also, do you expect the stimulus to get rolled back, in a sense, a hike in excise duty?
Okay, so let's say an additional 2% excise duty and service tax. There is very probably going to be a negative list for services in place of the existing list. And by having a negative list, automatically you spread the service net much, much wider. It's been mentioned that, services are 60% of GDP, yet service tax is less than 10% of all the taxes you're collecting. So that is something you really need to focus on. And if you make that broad enough, you will be able to get lots in. There are various other things I would like to have in. I don't know whether we'll get it. I've long said I'm astounded that we have such high taxes on cigarettes, but such low taxes on bidis, which are just as carcinogenic, if not worse. So, I do know Mr. Praful Patel is the great bidi king who is in the cabinet, but I do not see that is a good reason for not taxing bidis at least half the rate of cigarettes. Look at the amount of money, the revenue you get over and above. I find that we allow betting on horse racing, but we don't allow betting on cricket, which is supposed to be 1,000 times as big. Now, instead of having this huge amount of betting which just goes untaxed and it's illegal and it's black, why not bring it legally into the tax net? In England, in other places, I mean, there's legal betting shops. 15% is very often you can take off as a government tax. So, I mean, these would be imaginative ways of tapping sources of revenue that are there for the taking.